case that has gripped the attention of Port Charles like no other in recent memory has come to trial. The jury has been selected, the attorneys have prepared their cases, and the judge, in a very few moments, will commence proceedings in the state versus Edward Quatermain. The charge, conspiracy, and second-degree murder. 20 years ago, of Dr. Bradley Ward, at that time the minister at the Mount Hebron Baptist Church and a state assemblyman. The defendant, Edward Quatermain, founder of ELQ, philanthropist, and family man, is facing the fight of his life. His attorney, Milton Stannis, seems confident in his client's innocence, but the district attorney's office also promises a striking array of evidence to prove their claim. Because of the significance of this trial, WLPC is preempting the regular program, and we will give you gavel-to-gavel coverage on this.
All right.
I believe that the judge has just entered the courtroom. This trial is about to begin.
State of New York, County of Port Charles. The Honorable Judge Winston Harding presiding.
Be seated. Clerk, call the case.
Docket PC 77992, People of the State of New York versus Edward Quatermain.
Prosecution ready?
Michael Schultz for the people. Ready, Your Honor.
Counsel for the defense.
Milton Stannis for the defense. Ready, Your Honor.
Very well. Ladies and gentlemen in the gallery, we have a full house here today, and I'm sure you all want to hear every word, but so does the jury. So I would ask you to make every effort to maintain decorum while these proceedings are in progress. Thank you. Mr. Schultz, your opening statement, please.
Thank you, Your Honor.
State your name for the record.
Eugene Finess.
Please be seated.
Mr. Finess, will you tell us your relationship with Dr. Bradley Ward, please?
We were friends in grade school and then in college. When Bradley went into politics, I went with him. I helped him organize some of the various services he set up, and I worked on his campaigns.
So you were about as close as two friends could get, right?
I'd say so.
Now tell us the relationship between Bradley Ward and the defendant, Edward Quatermain.
Well, it wasn't good.
Would you describe it as acrimonious?
They did end up on the opposite side of most every issue.
And these issues included the airport deal of the early 70s, correct?
Correct. Bradley took on a lot of them.
Now, when you say the lot of them...
Quatermain, Jack Bolden, Lee Baldwin, Frank Smith, and the unions. They were hiring in racially discriminatory ways.
But Bradley won that fight, didn't he?
Well, they changed their hiring practices, yes.
So was everything hunky-dory after that?
Oh, no. There was a lot of animosity.
In what form?
Hate mail, telephone threats, contracts not renewed.
And did this deter Dr. Ward?
No, sir. It just motivated him to push harder for reform.
And how did you feel about that? Did you feel like maybe he should back off?
No. But I advised him to take precautions.
What kind of precautions?
I told him to buy a gun.
And did he?
Yes. A .38 revolver, which he licensed and registered.
And would this be that gun?
Yes.
People's evidence number 17, Exhibit A, Your Honor.
So entered.
I'd like to return to the hate mail and the phone threats and so forth. So he bought the gun, as per your suggestion. But did the threats really bother him?
Not at first.
But then they began to?
Yes.
Do you know why?
They became personal.
In what way?
Someone found out about relationships he had and tried to use them against him.
We're talking about extramarital affairs here, aren't we?
That's correct.
So these threats essentially said, back off or we'll blow the whistle on your personal life.
Yes.
And did this put pressure on Bradley?
He tried not to show it, but he was under a lot of strain.
Mr. Finess, who was making these threats?
He didn't say.
Did he know?
He never explicitly stated it, but I pretty much figured he thought it was Edward Quatermain.
Objection. This is being asked to testify as to the state of mind of the deceased. It is his unfounded opinion.
Sustained. The jury will disregard the last response.
Yeah, right. Good luck disregarding that little gem.
Miss Quinlan. In the spring of 1974, you were working with Bradley Ward. Is that correct?
Yes. I helped him get started in the assembly, and I worked with him on his statewide breakfast program.
And later on that same year, you began an affair with Bradley Ward. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
She went over all this with him last night. Piece of cake.
But out of deference to his family and career, you never went public.
We loved each other very much, but we realized there was no future in it.
But someone found out about the affair.
Yes, we believe so. Bradley told me about various threats he had received from people demanding that he back off of his projects or face exposure.
Were these anonymous threats?
Always.
Did you or Bradley try to do anything about them?
No. I worried a lot. I think Bradley just got used to them.
And were these threats ever carried out?
I was never sure.
What do you mean?
There was an incident. Bradley and I were driving in a car late one night. We realized that somebody was following us, and so Bradley accelerated. We came around a bend, and there was a car parked sideways in the middle of the highway. Bradley swerved. He really had no other choice. He ran us off the road. Bradley wasn't hurt. I had found out a couple of days earlier that I was pregnant with Bradley's child. I hadn't even told him about it yet. By the time that we'd gotten to the hospital, I realized that there was something terribly wrong. I lost the baby, and a couple of weeks later, Bradley was gone too.
And you'd been taken to General Hospital?
That's right.
And you were treated by?
Dr. Steve Hardy.
And was he aware of the paternity of your child?
Yes. Bradley never left my side. He was right there. Dr. Hardy assured us that he would keep everything confidential. He knew the ramifications if word got out.
And you never found out who operated the car that ran you off the road?
No. I only knew who Bradley was making a lot of trouble for.
Please tell the court.
Objection.
Edward Quartermain and his friends.
Your Honor.
Overruled.
Well, I told him the whole story,
Good for you.
including the fact that you knew about it right from that night.
Oh, that's all right. I'll probably have to cover the same ground. You just made it easier for me by going first.
I want you to know that I understand why you told Lee Baldwin. He really gave you no other choice. I know that you respected our privacy as much as you could.
Thank you, Kylie. I still feel so badly for you, for the whole experience.
Hey, you would have never been dragged into this if it weren't for me. And actually, you know, it felt good to say it out loud in public.
20 years is a long time to hold on to a secret.
Yeah, and I think it's time to banish the ghosts. Bradley would have approved. You know, back then it was dirty laundry. Now it's hardly raises an eyebrow. Has society changed that much, or have I just seen too much and gotten too tired?
You're only a girl. A brave girl.
I didn't feel particularly brave.
It seems to me following your heart took a lot of guts.
Oh, when you've got no other options, it's pretty simple.
Kylie, you always had the option of keeping quiet. You know, not exposing the secret. What you did took courage.
Well, I better get going. Thanks a lot. Good luck in there.
Goodbye. And take good care, will you?
Okay. Bye. See ya. Thanks. See you around.
So long. The world could use a few more like you.
Dr. Hardy, you were the attending physician when Kylie Quinlan arrived at General Hospital following an automobile accident in June of 1974.
That's correct.
And you had determined that she'd suffered a miscarriage.
Yes.
Was the father of the baby known to you?
It was Bradley Ward.
At the time, you kept that information to yourself, and consequently, A man came up to you, an individual, claiming to know all about Miss Quinlan's relationship with Dr. Ward, including the pregnancy and the miscarriage.
Yes, I assume there had been some private investigating.
And didn't the same individual request that you confirm the facts surrounding Dr. Ward and Miss Quinlan?
Yes,
Who was this individual?
it was Lee Baldwin.
And isn't it true that Lee Baldwin at the time was employed as legal counsel by Edward Quatermain?
Yes,
And weren't they also friends and business partners?
that's correct.
So, would you think that knowing the two gentlemen as you did, that Lee Baldwin might have shared this rather explosive revelation about Miss Quinlan and Dr. Ward with Edward Quatermain?
Your Honor, this is purely speculative supposition.
It's an informed opinion, Your Honor.
Overruled. The witness will answer the question.
The chances of Lee telling Edward would have been excellent.
I have never felt so reviled. I'm beginning to feel like I did it.
Oh, stay calm, Edward. There have been no surprises. Everything they have is purely circumstantial. In fact, Schultz is bordering on slander. We may have to sue him after you're acquitted.
Let's get back into the courtroom as soon as possible. Who's next on their witness list?
Let's see.
All right.
Yes. Some shoes like these. Little buckles and stuff like that. Hey, how you doing?
I dread this day.
I understand. I don't blame you. But it'll be over soon.
Will it? Oh, God, Luke, will it ever be over?